nation. Hebrew kingdom building.
All right. So, okay, let's talk about the spirit, the soul, and the body. We're going to continue to talk about that. And basically, oh man, that's Yeshua. When it comes to the spirit, the soul, and the body, we've been talking about that on and off for the last, I would say, month or so. And what we're seeing, this is something Malek was talking about. What we've been seeing is we've been seeing this struggle between the soul and the spirit, I would say, where you will align and agree with something spiritually, but your soul is not agreeing with it. So I'll give you an example. Let me think of a tube example. Let me think of a tube example. Oh, I got a great example. All right. I'm gonna pick on the Akio. The scripture says that a woman is supposed to submit to her husband. We've seen this many years where the Akio will know that's what you're supposed to do. The wife will read it in the scriptures and be all for it. We've seen this multiple times. I remember I'm not gonna say the names, but I mean I remember this leader, he's not a leader anymore. His wife, this was a long time ago. I think the vast majority of y'all won't know who this is, so it's Stu. That's why I'm gonna bring them up. But this happened to a lot of people. I'm just using them as an example. There was this leader, they were quote unquote Moray. This was before Mushals. And his wife was all about, the woman's supposed to submit. The woman's supposed to submit. The Bible say that the woman's supposed to submit to her husband. And she would be on Facebook every day with new posts about submission, literally. She would be on Facebook every day, at least maybe not literally every day, but all the time, I should say. Several times a week, I'll say it like that. Talking about submit, and I'm talking about she'll even be going in on these American females and how the problem is they just don't submit. They don't. That's the why and going in. And she fooled. She tricked me. I thought she was really about that life because she was so loud about it, and she wasn't about that life at all, Miss Fargo, at all. Like not even close. Uh, it was one Sukkot, man. She was cussing her husband out. Everybody can hear in the tent. Because people forget in Sukkot when you're in your tent, just because you can't see everybody. Listen, you forget that everybody can hear you. The tent walls are thin. Everybody can hear you. And so, man, she was cussing her husband out. Cussing. That's Sukkot. Going in. Um, Behind closed doors was just nothing at all aligning with no submission. Nothing at all. To the point to where they finally, they end up leaving the nation over that. The dude was pretty through, but because the wife was so off the chain, it just didn't work out. To where they left the nation, and then they end up eventually they end up getting a divorce. Unfortunately, they end up divorcing, and so I bring that up.
Well, that's a no, pause.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Yeah. Yeah.
No, no,
Oh.
no. But I really believe that she really wanted to submit. I really do. That's why she was so loud about it. That's what I mean. She wanted to. She was following the scriptures. I truly believe she wanted to. Because her spirit agreed with it. She believed she could do it, but she couldn't do it because her soul was too strong. Her soul was against it because grew up in Babylon. Probably, single mother, independent mother. She didn't grow up in any way learning or knowing anything about submission. She just read it in the scriptures, knew that's what Yahuwah wanted, and thought she could just do it at the snap of a finger, like it was just gonna happen because she wanted to happen. It don't work like that. Most of y'all grew up and never seen a healthy marriage. Y'all never seen true submission. Y'all never seen no Sarai's before. Y'all grew up and never seen, most of y'all, if not all of y'all, never seen no Sarai's before. Never seen no Leah and Raquel before. Some of y'all grew up, your mothers was harlots, Jezebels, and all kind of stuff, narcissists. I'm just being like, truthful in reality right now. So if that's all you seen, that's all you know. Now you're reading in the Bible that you're supposed to be the scriptures that you're supposed to be moving totally opposite in everything you've seen. You believe it, you know it's true, and you say you're gonna do it, but then when you try to do it, everything in your emotions is against it. Everything in your soul is against it. Everything in your body starts coming against that. You know how many people said they was going to submit, and because that's what the scriptures say, then they get married and they come to me crying. I know it's supposed to submit, but it's so hard. No, it's not. It wouldn't have been hard if you grew up with, Sarai as your mother or something. If you grew up, in ancient Yasharal, it wouldn't have been hard at all. But our souls have been trained to be Babylonian for years. Trained, y'all. Trained through repetition, through mind control, which the mind control is done through the television, the internet, the media, the schools, the public schools. Oh yeah, the children's stories teach rebel. A lot of them teach rebellion and witchcraft, sorcery, all kind of stuff. But we think because we read in the scriptures that we're supposed to submit, we're gonna be able to do that. Yeah, you'll be able to do that, but it ain't gonna come without a fight, y'all. You got a war against the Babylonian that's in your members. You got a war against your members in a sense. You can do it though, but you just got to know it's not gonna be easy. You're gonna have to battle your soul in order to gain and attain that. You can agree with something in your mind and intellectually. You can know a thing is true, but it's another thing when to get your soul to align with it. Your nefesh. It's not the end of the world if your soul is not aligning with the truth. That's why you cannot trust your feelings. You can't. The heart is deceitfully wicked. What does the heart do? The heart pumps the blood throughout your body, and the scriptures say the soul is in the blood, right? So the soul is deceitfully wicked, I submit. Your soul will deceive you. Just because you feel this way don't mean it's true. If the way you feel is contrary to what the scriptures say and to what Yahuwah says, you got to choose Yahuwah. You think the Most High care about your feelings when it comes to the furthering of his kingdom and his purposes? You crazy if you think that. No, what you got to do is you got to battle. If you see that your feelings are not aligning with the Most High, then you know that there's an aspect of your soul that's not aligning with your ruach, and you got to battle that. And what Malek was talking about, we were talking with him on Yamashon in a meeting, is that the way to do that is through Emunah, which lines up with what Radayahu was talking about surrounding Emunah on this last Ark Shabbat. Once your soul aligns with the Shamayim and not with Babylon fully. This is why I submit. That's how you be a whole burnt offering, I submit. When your soul fully aligns with the Shamayim, your mind, body, and soul. This is why in the Torah, the offerings, the organs, which that represents your soul, the organs meaning the liver and kidneys, those were offered up to Yahuwah. The entrails, those are the things that represent your soul. The belly, the entrails, liver, kidneys, and on a whole burnt offering, those things, the priest cannot keep any of those things. Those things are fully offered to Yahuwah. Those things belong to Yahuwah. That represents your soul. What do demons want? They want your soul. That's why where do they be at? They be in your entrails, don't they? They be in your kidneys. That's what they want. They want your emotions. They want your soul is the seat of your desires and your emotions, your feelings, your cravings, can't think of the word I'm looking for.
Desires?
The seat of your emotions, your desires. There's another word I'm looking for, but it's okay. That's basically what it is. The seat of your emotions, your desires, your feelings, your emotions, your feelings and things like that. You shouldn't be at a point to where I'm gonna just use this as an example. You shouldn't be at a point to where you looking at biblical marriage, the way Abraham, Yaakov moved as adultery. You know in your mind that's not the same thing as adultery, but because you had got cheated on by your maybe a boyfriend in the past, or because you got cheated on by a husband, whenever you think of biblical marriage with multiple wives, your soul says adultery. Your soul, your trauma says that. It stings you. You feel that when you feel that, you listen. That's a sign that there's still aspects of your soul that's not aligning with the Most High. There's aspects of your soul that's not fully given over yet. And that again, that don't mean you're a bad person. It don't. Because your soul ain't automatically gonna be given over to the Most High just because you wanted to. You gotta train your nefesh. You gotta train. You gotta take dominion over your flesh. It's a war. It's a battle. You gotta battle against yourself, man. It's war. But the first step is Emunah. Okay. The first step is Emunah. For example, the submitting part. I'm gonna use a submission. That's an easy one because ain't nobody moving in biblical marriage right. But all of y'all who are married, y'all know y'all gotta submit, and almost none of y'all grew up to know how to do that. And so I'm not gonna ask y'all how many of y'all are really doing through with that. I'm not gonna do that and put y'all on the spot like that. Because a lot of y'all got some work to do on y'all submission. I know because I be in the counseling sessions, I be in all that. A lot of y'all got some work to do on the submission part, married folks. Y'all do. Y'all ain't just Leah and Raquel yet on the submission side. Y'all not there yet. So, how do you get there? What is keeping you from getting there? It's your nefesh. Soon as your husband telling you what to do, distrust kicks in. Oh, second guessing. Oh, no, I don't want nobody. What if he try to take advantage of me? All that stuff kick in. That's your soul not aligning with what the truth is. Your husband love you. Your husband want the best for you. Your husband, this, yeah, you have your husband. He ain't gonna take advantage of you. You going off of Babylon and traumas and stuff from the past. No, you can submit to your if your husband is a citizen of the eternal excellency, he has Yahusha he has to deal with if he move wrong with you. He gotta present you every year. He gotta present his house every year. He ain't gonna take advantage of you. He ain't gonna try to lord over you and put his foot on your neck. But in your soul, you may not. Yeah, I'm not saying that y'all say this out loud, but in your soul, in your nefesh, it's this thing you think, oh man, but if I be too not just let him just if I just let him lead too much, he might be trying, he might try to take advantage, put his foot on my neck, try to lord over me and take advantage and abuse me. Y'all don't say it out loud, but it's something that just in you, in your soul, that just. I know you said to do this, but what about this? But what about that? And that's because your nefesh is not aligning. So this is what you got to do, okay? I'm gonna use the submission as an example. Emunah. So this is how you do it. So in Emunah, moving in Emunah, since you know that's what Yahuwah wants you to do, you move in full submission, even though your soul doesn't agree with it, and you just let your soul. You just feel the pain, just feel the hurt, the emotions that's gonna come with it, and war against it though by moving in Emunah and submitting anyway, even when every aspect of your feelings and your emotions is coming against that. It's not agreeing with you doing it. Yeah, it's easy. I'm talking about in the hard times. It's easy to submit in the easy when I'm talking about when your husband come and he correcting you about something. And you don't agree with the correction. You getting that little in your soul, that little you about to go in, you about to argue, you about to argue, you about to talk back, you about to try to preserve yourself instead of just saying, yes, sir. Call him Adonai. Oh boy, a lot of y'all ain't even called y'all husband Adonai yet, and it's not because you forgot. It's because your soul, just the even thought of calling your husband Adonai is like something in your soul is like, oh no, mm-mm, mm-mm. You don't know what that'll do to your husband. That'll do something to him. You start calling him now because that's what he is to you, whether you call him that or not. Start calling him that. See what happens. Moving Emunah. I know your soul is against every aspect of that. It's gonna like hurt. You're gonna you gonna feel something in your stomach. You try to do it, but you gotta move it Emunah. That's how you fight over you. That's how you fight against your nefesh. Fight against that little feeling in your stomach, that little anxiety, and the shaking, and all. Fight. Just do it anyway. That's how you move an Emunah. And watch what happens. You'll start slowly being able to take more and more dominion over your soul. I'm not talking about suppressing it. No. Oh, I'm talking about fully feeling it, fully let processing through it, but you're going to serve Yahuwah regardless. That was the issue with the children of Israel in the wilderness. What did they primarily complain about? Stuff surrounding the nefesh, wasn't it? What's the nefesh about? The soul about? The seat of your desires, the seat of your appetite, your emotions. That's the word I was looking for. Appetite. That's the word I was looking for earlier. The seat of your appetite. They were saying, oh, they were arguing, they were complaining, and it was like, man, all we have is this worthless bread. The Most High made them go some days without I think it was without food or it was without water, something like that. What do? They murmured against Yahuwah. We want meat to eat. We want food to eat. We want something to drink. You brought us out here to die in the wilderness. It was better back in Mitzrayim. So on and so forth. The Most High tested them on purpose by making them go without certain things to see if their nefesh will override their desire for Yahuwah and the things of Yahuwah. If your emotions, your desires, your appetite overrides your will to serve the Most High, some may come up that can cause you to not make it. That's what we've been seeing, y'all. Everybody says they're gonna serve Yahuwah, but it's when the heat comes, is when you test it on that. Man, listen, people get pressed back against the wall, pressure, and then boy, listen, people will do things you never thought they would do. When people back against the wall, that's when you see the real them. If you're in the flesh ain't aligned with the shaman, you're back against the wall. You'll sell out the whole to save yourself if you need to. That's why it's important to have dominion over your nefesh. Why did Judas sell out Yahushua HaMashiach? He knew the truth. He was out there casting out ruachs. He was out there doing all the miracles and all kind of stuff. but his nefesh wasn't aligned. So, man, when he saw that money, when he saw, all those things like that, he sold out Yahusha. He sold out everybody for that money. We be reading these scriptures. We be reading this Torah. We be doing this Torah portion every week. But how you gonna make sure your soul aligns with these things we reading? It's through Emunah. That's how. And it's not just because you wanted to. Emunah is what was that breakdown, Radayahu? It's um, a strong water and what was it? To the inheritance, a strong like carrying over through the chaos.
So it's the strength or muscle that carries you through the chaos, which secures the inheritance revealed.
Boom. Um, does anybody have that?
I
Was
can
it?
put it in the chat.
Yeah, let's do that. Toda. Immunized. Aleph Mem Ua Noon Hey. Aleph Mem Ua Noon Hey. Let me see something. Uh, Toda. Okay. Thought I had a slide, but that's cool. Uh, Radalia who put it in the he put it in the oh, that's Bakir as a Toda. Toda Rabah. Aleph Mem Ua Noon Hey, and I'll just real quick put it down there in Hebrew as well, so y'all can kind of just have a visual. That's the Aleph Mem Ua Noon Hey. There we go. All right, so but it's a strong, it's like the muscle, a strong muscle, strength of muscle that carries you through the chaos. That's the mem, which secures the inheritance that's revealed, or that secures the inheritance. Inheritance comes through what? Somebody tell me.
Revelation.
The Father.
There you
Submission.
go. Say that again, Kaya.
Submission.
That's what you said before? Okay, okay. What did you say, Yirmiyahu?
Revelation.
Okay. Shannon was the closest. Hold on, yeah, there you go. The Ab. That's what I was looking for. Being a son or a daughter. That's what I was looking for. Stuff like that. Because the inheritance is passed down through the based off of bloodline, right? The birthright goes to a son, or the inheritance goes to a son. The inheritance passes down through the bloodline. It's based off of blood. And remember, according to the Torah, then the flesh is in the blood, right? Y'all remember that when the scriptures say the life is in the blood, but it's really saying the flesh in Hebrew, the soul. The soul is in the blood. Told her Shannon got it. Yeah. The soul is in the blood. And so it's through the Emunah that you can get your soul to align with the Shamayim. When your soul aligns with the Shamayim, that carries you to the inheritance. Because it takes Emunah, y'all, for your soul to align to the Shamayim. It takes Emunah. Your soul ain't going to do that just because you wanted to. I can't emphasize that enough. You got to train your soul. You're going to have to go against your soul for a while. You're going to have to battle against it. It's not going to feel, you can't trust your feelings. Your feelings are not going to align with Yahuwah because your feelings and your emotions were trained by Babylon. Y'all went to public school and you think your soul going to align with the Most High just because you wanted to. They've been doing mind control. They've been putting stuff in your food to make you feel certain ways, to have your soul attached and addicted to certain things. They've been hypnotizing you with different movies, different sound frequencies for years. And you think your soul gonna automatically align with the shaman. There was some parts of your soul that will, but in other things it won't. Your feelings, it won't feel through. But what you do is you show Yahuwah you're gonna do it anyway. And you just deal with your feelings. You battle against them. Not suppress them. You work through them. Write it down. Battle against it. But you gonna serve Yahuwah. And it's a process, y'all. It's a process is what I'm trying to say. It'll be a process of even mourning, you know, mourning certain things. But it's called, you know what it's called? It's called dying to yourself. That's what it's called. We talk about it all the time. You gotta die to yourself. Die to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because what you gotta do, you gotta die to yourself. Cause that's what the scriptures say. And don't know most people don't truly do it. Because the situation come to where when your emotions rise up high on a situation that doesn't align with the word or with Torah, you go with your emotions. That's showing you ain't died to yourself in that area. No, the process of dying to yourself is you choose Yahuwah against your feelings, against your emotions, against your mind, and then you battle against those feelings, against those thoughts, against that mindset that is contrary to Yahuwah through Emunah. And it's like a death that happens. It's a mourning stage. It's not fun. It's not all fun and games. Pookie, you're gonna have to get out of here, okay? Going out there. Going in the kitchen. I'm doing too much. Like it's gonna take some prayer times with you. Who are you just being honest with the Most High and talking through it with them, what you're dealing with. Why these things are so hard. But your actions are going to align with your who. That's the Emunah. You reach out to your leadership. You reach out to me. You reach out to Mushala, feel the Akio. Reach out to Bakir Yakum Yamin Yaya. Reach out to Bakir Ezra, Uriah, et cetera, et cetera. Talk through it with them. Process through it. Don't suppress it. That's how you die to self. Then once you conquer it, and it's piece by piece. Once you conquer that area of your soul to where you make it submit to the will of Yahuwah fully, to where the things that the Most High loves you love, and the things that He hates you hate, etc., etc. You may have died to yourself in that area, but then the Most High show you another area where you thought you was through that and you're not. Now you got to go through the process all over again in that other area until you fully die to yourself, fully in every area, in every area of your nefesh, your left kidney, your right kidney, your entrails, your liver. The cleansing of the blood is the cleansing of the nefesh, because the nefesh is in the blood. We didn't think about all this, y'all. When the point was that Yahuwah was going to cleanse our blood. We didn't think about that. The cleansing of the blood is the cleansing of your nefesh. This is why the Most High been having us go through this stuff for the last month or so. Our nefesh ain't clean. There's some parts of our nefesh that's cluttered. It's cluttered, y'all. It's full of clutter. Y'all ever been into a room? Don't come in my room right now. I ain't throwing stones. I'm just talking in general. Okay, don't do me like that. But you ever been in a room and it's just clutter? It's not orderly. It's dirty. It's not clean. It's all kind of stuff in there that don't need to be in there. Some of the stuff that's in there that's trash. It just need to be thrown away. What that's in there for? What that's on the counter for? That's trash. That's how y'all nefesh is right now because y'all been in Babylon so long. What that doing in your nefesh still? You look at it like, man, look, yeah, I'm cleansing your bloodline. That's trash. Y'all ever had some of y'all are married and some of y'all are the clever people, and then your spouse is the organized one. And what happens for those who are married that way? The organized one is like, yeah, you need to throw this away. No, 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 no. I don't want to throw it away because, I might need this for something one day. And then the organized one like, no, this trash. Okay. We don't need this for nothing. Okay. This is trash. All right. This we need to throw it away. Or it's just going it's just in the way. It's just causing clutter. And we don't need all this. I'm gonna throw this away. And the organized person is right 9 times out of 10. You need to throw the stuff away. And you know what happens? Oh, it just feel it's a release once you let go of it, but it's hard to let go of it. Why? Because your nefesh is attached to it, is used to it. You used to this Babylonian stuff. You attached to it, but it's bad for you. You gotta throw it away. You holding on to too many things. You got too much clutter in your nefesh, and it's holding you back from things the Most High trying to do for you. It's things He's trying to put in your nefesh that He can't because your nefesh is cluttered with a whole bunch of stuff you picked up throughout your life in Babylon. You went through this trauma. You went through that trauma. Boyfriend did you bad here. You was moving in sin. You was in all kind of perversion here, and dealt with some sort of trauma through that, through your bad decisions. That you done picked that up. Some new thought process, some new mindset from that. You grew up. You thought all boys was dogs because you was moving in sin and iniquity. I'm talking from the female side of the story. You was moving in sin and iniquity, and because of that, you attracted dudes who all they wanted was one thing. So now you developed this whole mindset that all dudes are dogs. There ain't no dude capable of loving properly and being faithful and all that type of stuff. You grew up with that doctrine, and you didn't even know it, but it was in you. And you think now because you in the truth, you're gonna be a dude wife and you're gonna just submit to your husband. When you get a husband, oh, I'm gonna submit to him. I'm gonna just be so through to him. I'm gonna call him Adonai. He gonna be my Adonai. Oh man. Your whole life you grew up, you thought all boys was dogs. And you think because you in the truth, all that's just gone. It's just you just gonna change. When in your mind it's changed, but your nefesh still has all that clutter from those stuff that you went through growing up. And what happens, we've seen it too many times. You do great in the process, you do great. But as soon as y'all get married and go into covenant, all that stuff come up. And we the ones surprised in the counseling sessions of how you moving right now. After all, you was on your great best behavior during the whole process. And said you was going to submit, you was going to call your husband Adonai, you was going to be the best, Waisha. You was going to be Leah, Sarah, Rachel, all in one. And then get married within that first year, your husband reaching out, we doing counseling sessions, you wilding out. Wilding out. Because you didn't deal with your soul. You only dealt with your spirit. You only dealt with intellectual, your mind on the things, on what you know. You know it's true. You know you're supposed to submit, but don't underestimate the power of the soul. All right, I've been getting on the females, the Akio for, but it's the same thing with the Akim. Akim, you grow up, your dad was not through. Maybe your dad did abandon you. He rejected you plenty of times. He didn't really cover you. So you grew up, and, you just had your mom. So then you get into and you think you're gonna be able to submit to your leadership. You're gonna be able to submit to the Melakim, the Mushalim. These are men. And you look at the Mushal and remind you of your dad. Who just was all kind of you couldn't trust him. He would do you bad. He abandoned you multiple times, rejected you, and so you looking at the Mushal, you waiting for him to reject you. That's all. You not ain't no trust there. You looking at him. That's just like my dad. He ain't gonna do nothing but do you bad, do me bad. He ain't gonna do nothing but it don't even matter of time. I'm just waiting for when it happens. He gonna try to reject me or bad something. You know how many times we done dealt with that? And that's because the soul is a powerful thing, man. The soul is developed and trained based off of how you grew up and your experiences. I'm not gonna be able to teach you out of what your soul done took from Babylon. You gotta clean. You gotta let Yahuwah cleanse your blood, which is what your soul to cleanse and redeem our bloodline. You gotta let Yahuwah redeem your soul, cleanse your soul. But the way he does it is through you moving in Emunah. I'm gonna submit to my hundredfold Ab anyway. Okay, yeah, it's in my soul right now that I feel like he gonna reject me. I feel like he gonna move funny toward me. He gonna try to act away. You know, the trust ain't there, but I'm a believe you who. I'm gonna submit anyway. Oh man, men, they receive correction from the Mushal or from the Malek. Oh man, if the man wasn't raised by a father and not used to that, that's gonna go against everything in their soul, everything. Man, forget him. But if you can overcome that and submit anyway, even though everything in your soul is coming against that, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna feel bad. It's gonna be a thing where you gotta process through it. You gotta work through it. You gotta reach out to your heads, reach out to the leadership, reach out to Yahuwah in prayer. And what'll happen is over time, that stuff don't happen overnight. It happens over time as you fighting. You will take dominion over your soul in that area and will actually be able to successfully submit to your heads the way that Yahuwah wants you to. And in that area, you have just died to yourself. It's a death that takes place. It's a mourning. But then when you do that, then the Most High can move in you in that area on a whole nother level. All right, y'all. Go ahead, Bakir Ezra Uriah. Saw you had your hand up.
You don't want to go, so I go. I'm gonna say something.
Yes, sir.
So this is very true. It's a very timely word because earlier today I heard I believe it was like how are you in Yahusha? And I believe the question is asking like how are you doing? It's to self-examine yourself to see how you're doing in Yahuwah. Is he pleased with you? Things of that nature. But what you were saying was spot on about um Yahuwah will baruch you and bless you with your obedience, with your obedience. And I take it a step further that you touched on is basically is your submission how is your submission? Like check your submission, right? Because what Yahuwah will do, and this is very easy to explain it, but it's kind of hard to do. I'll tell y'all a short testimony on myself because I'm gonna be open with it. It was hard for me in the beginning to submit, right? And I was going against the grain. Um, and Yahuwah dealt with me in the way that he dealt with me, right? And this was actually towards, Mushal, y'all. And, I known him for years prior to me coming into the truth. And I struggled with that submitting part, you know what I mean? And it wasn't me going against the Most High. I mean, Mushal, it was me going against the Most High, because what the Most High will do, he will delegate. He will have people he puts in place. As far as the Maleks, the Mushalim, Mushalaot, the leadership. He'll put these people in place. Um, and if we can't submit to who Yahuwah puts in front of us, we sure can't submit to Yahuwah. Uh, that's crazy. I feel like we talked about this. I'm pretty sure we have. You can't even submit to Yahuwah if you can't submit to who he puts in and delegates and puts in place of him. Um, and then, we might want to be like, you know what? I submit to Yahuwah. I submit to Yahuwah. I'm submitting, but you're not. So this is a marriage, y'all. This is a marriage. This is a biblical marriage that we're doing. And we are the brides of Yahuwah. Uh, and what Ish will be pleased with his bride that's not submitting, right? And you say you're submitting, and this is for the men and for the women, for the young men, and for the young men, for everybody on the call, right? Even including myself. If Yahuwah has delegated some people to be in his place here on the Eretz in place of him, and we can't submit to them, then we're not submitting to Yahuwah, right? And then us submitting to Yahuwah and submitting to who he's placed in front of us is the protection that we need. It's the Emunah that we have to have in the people in front of us. If we don't have the Emunah in them, then we lack it in Yahuwah. And someone may be like, you know what? No, it's because he did this and he flashed in front of me, and I don't like him because of this. Now you doing that against Yahuwah. You see what I'm saying? You have no faith in the Most High because it's the protection that Yahuwah has placed in front of you. It's the muscle that carries you through the chaos. You see what I'm saying? We're here to carry you through the chaos. Ab is here to carry me through the chaos. And I had to realize that, man. It even took me a long time to even try to call him Ab. I was struggling with that. That was even a struggle, right? Like Musa was actually saying, can you call Ishaz? Can y'all call your Ish Adonai, right? Have you ever done that, right? Because it's that Babylonian mindset that's stuck in your head, like, nah, he not over me. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I was feeling because, I wasn't raised by my father. He was kind of in and out of the picture, and I didn't know how to submit to a man. I didn't. But once I did submit, then here came the blessings, right? Here comes Yahuwah really showing me more things, and he's giving me more things, you know what I'm saying? And all praise to Yahuwah for that. For him helping me out with that submitting, you know what I'm saying? And he's gonna do the same for y'all. You may not see it, right? But that's the MU now. You're not going to be able to see it, right? It's going to manifest if you submit, right? It's going to come about if you submit. Because at the end of the day, y'all, this ain't it. And when I mean this ain't it, this ain't the whole Mishpaka. This Mishpaka will continue to grow. And if you submitting, Yahuwah will use you to do things. He will use you to he'll give you new functions, right? Who's to say that, you may not be a part of leadership and tending to the next ones that are to come, right? Helping out, teaching, you know what I'm saying? Whatever he needs you to do, you're going to be able to do that. And if you don't have the MU9, you're not submitting, hey, it's just going to make it that much more tough. I had a lot of stuff that I was thinking when my mind was going. But that's one thing that stuck out. Like, how are you in Yahuwah? You know what I'm saying? How are you in this walk? Are you submitting? Are you receiving a word? Can you receive a word? Right? Can you kill your or like not kill, but can you die to self? You know what I'm saying? Those thoughts that come in your mind, like, man, he really ain't about me. He ain't really, don't love me like that, or whatever your mind may be thinking. Can you cast these things down and continue to build in Yahuwah? Because we need you. I mean, we need you. Yahuwah needs you. You're here for a reason. I need you. You see what I'm saying? And we won't become Echad until we all get on the same page of submission to Yahuwah. You know what I'm saying? Getting those Babylonian ways out of our mind, man. We gotta get rid of that because at the end of the day, the yellow demon, they seeing that. You may not think that they see. You may not think that they know. Oh, he don't know what he's talking about. You know how back in the day when your mama She may be talking to her friend on the phone, and Junior over there in the kitchen washing dishes. Junior listening to everything, and her friend on the phone, don't say that in the phone. Yeah, Junior don't know what I'm talking about. No, Junior know what you're talking about. Junior know exactly what Mama's saying. Junior listening, he's soaking everything up, and Mama is really hurting Junior. You know what I'm saying? By the things that she's doing, and the words that she's saying. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta watch these things. And even when we by ourselves, like even thoughts, like you gotta cast these things down. And I'm not saying that nobody ain't. I ain't saying that nobody is. I'm just speaking uh, on it. And if it's touching you, hey man, praise Yahuwah, right? If I'm throwing a stone and it hit you, you know what I'm saying? Praise Yahuwah. Toda Rabbi Yahuwah for my Musha. Toda Rabbi Yahuwah for my Ma Musha Lamet, right? You know what I'm saying? Because they're the ones that Yahuwah has placed before me. Um, and I'm going to submit to them, and I'm going to respect them. I'm going to honor them. And we got to make sure that we teach our Yeladim that, because if we don't, then we're going to have a breach, right? We're going to have a kingdom that won't be able to succeed 100% because there's breaches, you know what I'm saying? There's things that's still in them that they learn from us, you know, from us not submitting, So, that's one thing that I wanted to speak on. I have some other stuff. If it come about, I'll speak on it. But that's one thing that I had. Shalom.
Man, that was powerful. That was some wisdom right there. All praise to Yahuwah. Bakir Ezra Houdin.
Aladdin, Hadin, Razda, Hadin to my ish, Bakir Akum, yeah, and Shalom Alakim to everyone where it is due. So I'm trying to remember exactly how Yahuwah said this because it was at the start of the call when you were praying. But it was something similar to what Bakir Akum just said about like where are you with Yahuwah? So it's basically like this. So we know that the tests and trials that Yahuwah puts us through is to prove that we are here for him, to prove that we're doing these things for him, right? For the building of his purpose, right? In his kingdom. We also understand and we know that he's going to test us and prove us on these things. So that's why he picks the thing that hurts the worst or the most to see if in those times, if we still going to run to him. And so what Yahuwah does is he places us in these situations where it's like a time of intimacy, right? It's a time where you're very vulnerable with him, especially with your feelings, with things that you're dealing with. Just kind of like coming to him. Not saying why me, because we should all be past that stage. But some people may be still at that phase, even though our maturity level should be past the why me, right? And so whenever Yahuwah is speaking, right, and he's trying to show us the soul in the Ruach, he's trying to get us to trust him, right, through the Emunah, knowing that since he's shown us that he's given us dominion and he's given us power over those things, that when we lean and rest in him and allow him to guide our purpose and our direction, then when we decide to do that, that's where the Emunah comes in. So it's like I said to the women in the women's call, right? Your emotions are indicators, not dictators. It shouldn't be dictating and telling you how to respond and how to react. It's just to show you where spots and blemishes are within, right? Places where healing may need to be, places within you where the image does not look like Yahusha. So that's what your emotions should do. It should say, okay, red flag. This is coming up because of what, Yahuwah? What are you trying to show me with this? Right? Was there some disobedience or something I didn't do? Is there something that you needed me to do? That's why I'm not hearing you right now. What is the last word I need to go back to? What is this thing I feel pricking me? Right? It feels so much pressure from it. Right? So it makes you come to this place where you begin to grow through the test and the trial on how to trust him more. Because with the being able to trust him more, he gives you more things. So when they happen, you know out of Emunah that is through because of the trust he built up in you through the test and trial. And so when you're in a space and the soul is screaming and crying out because it feels like things are unfair, because it feels like these places are failure. It feels like this place that if I submit and he mess up, then Yahuwah gonna throw us out. Right? It feels like all these things. It's the same thing with Kawhi. She didn't know Yahuwah was gonna put them out, but she just, hey, look over here. It's just about not being afraid. That's why one thing Yahuwah said that he did not create was fear. He didn't give us the spirit of fear. That's why he keeps on saying that. He keeps on telling us that. Don't fear or be dismayed. He keeps telling us that because that's the main thing that tries to conquer in the midst of trials. It's fear that tries to build up. Well, what if I mess this up? What if I'm displeasing to Yahuwah? What if I fail at this? What if I don't be the person you needed me to be, Yahuwah? What if it's all of this fear that comes from the flesh? That Yahuwah telling us that he didn't put it there. So now it's where fear will try, or the flesh will try to conquer the Ruach. And it tries to tell it how to respond. And so you can't allow the way that the flesh feels to stop you from trusting Yahuwah, for trusting the path that he has. That's why the scripture says, lean not to your own understanding. In all of your ways, acknowledging him, and he will make straight your paths. That's why the scripture says it in that manner. Because he knows that fear will make you lean to your own understanding. Fear will make you run to wanting an answer right away. Fear will make you run and do things out of impulse. And what Yahuwah is just trying to show us is that I'm trying to make you a disciplined people. I'm trying to make you a consistent people, one that comes before me and learns intimacy, where I can teach you trust, where I can teach you self-control, where I can teach you all of these things and build you up. So when you stand before me, I see my image. I see the test that you went through, that you wound up passing because you trusted me over your fear. And the same thing for the women. We have to make sure that we're in a position where we understand that that's what Yahuwah is looking for in us too. Yes, we have tests and trials. If our emotional senses may be more heightened than the men, which is even more reason why we need to make sure that we're putting those things in check and having discipline. Making sure that we're being obedient to what our husbands say, even if you have fear that he gonna mess up. But ain't nobody, you didn't say that when you was messing up. You weren't afraid when you was doing it. So you got to have grace. You have to still trust and submit. We have to still trust and submit, even when we don't know what it look like, even when we don't understand. Because how can you predict the future? There's nothing in you that's going to tell you what tomorrow brings. That's why Yahuwah said, don't worry about tomorrow. Let it worry about itself. Because the goal is for you to just stay focused on what's in front of you, to stay focused on what he's giving you. Sometimes we put so many things in front of us, which are called distractions. And we lose sight of what the real goal is. Then we become overwhelmed and anxious because we feel we have so much to do. But if we would just focus on what it is that he's trying to do, what it is he's trying to heal, what area he's trying to show us that it still has hurt from when we were younger, what areas still have hurt, that he can actually mend it. The reason it hurts so bad is because it's your Emunah. It's your faith and your trust that I know that he's going to cover me through this. I know that he's going to bring healing, that he's going to fill this place up with love, even though I don't know what that love looks like. I'm still going to allow him to. That's what he's building. He's building a place where you can come and say, okay, Yahuwah, mold me in this area. This is a place where I am weak. This is a place when these things happen, I feel rejected. But I know that's not from you, right? Because you move from a anxious state to a I know you're here. Even if I don't hear you, I don't see you. Even if you don't meet me in prayer, I know you're here. And it's allowing him to fill those places. But that's all I have. Much Abba.
Ah, man. Yeah, y'all going in. Man, y'all going in. All right. Okay. You want to wait? Okay, Mashallah about to come on. We'll have Bethsaida Yahoo. We'll go in the meantime. You gonna go right now? Okay, Bethsaida, go ahead.
Kafel Hudim, Avenman, Hudim towards you. Can you hear me?
Come.
Okay, because it's going through the card, so I just want to make sure. So Yahuwah kind of been dealing with me about this for a little while. Most recently the past couple weeks. Yahuwah was kind of showing me, even prior to the last couple of weeks, but more so in the past couple of weeks is and I think today is that we'll read the scriptures about our ancestors and say things like, why would they do that? Why don't they know that Yahuwah is Alua? After he's done all these things and after all of whatever, why would they complain, or why would they do insert whatever we may read in the scriptures? And what Yahuwah was kind of showing me is that we're not as far removed from the ways of our ancestors as we would like to think, as we would like to believe, in reference to things that they've done and how we move now in reference to like lack of Emunah and just different things like that. So something that you said was going to Yahuwah in prayer. If we feel like we're dealing with something, going to Yahuwah in prayer, going to our leaders and, talking through those things, praying through those things, different stuff like that. What Yahuwah was showing me and what, could be my default at times. And I have to really battle with that and really like check that when it rears its head is not moving like Jonah. So I would know that Yahuwah is trying to show me something, but I would not sit long enough to listen because I don't want to go to that vulnerable place and have to deal with the thing that I know he's trying to show me. That's the same thing that Jonah did, ran away when Yahuwah was calling him to do a thing. And so, we might run away from things that Yahuwah is trying to show us because we don't want to be fully in that place that Yahuwah is trying to take us to, or try to really like accept or really deal with the thing that Yahuwah is trying to show us. It's interesting because in reference to Jonah, he was chosen to do what Yahuwah called him to do. And he tried to run away from what he was chosen to do because it was a weighty thing. Sometimes it's hard to move in what we were chosen to do because what Yahuwah is calling us to do is weighty. But not everyone can do it because we were created to do it. Just like Jonah. Jonah was created to do what Yahuwah was calling him to do. And so even though he thought he could run away, he couldn't run away, because how are you going to run away from the purpose that you were created for? Like, there's nowhere for you to run, especially if it's Yahuwah that's calling you. What Yahuwah was kind of showing me was, Yahuwah chooses us every day. Every day that we wake up is another day that Yahuwah chooses us, because we're able to be in his presence, because we're able to pray to him, and his ear is attentive to our prayers. Every day that we wake up and we are in is another day that Yahuwah has chosen us. And so recognizing and understanding that we are chosen, that Yahuwah chooses us daily, not because he has to, because he could choose anybody else, but because he wants to, because he desires to, is a driving factor for me to choose him, because he chooses me. Because there's nothing that I do or have done that Yahuwah is choosing me, except for the fact that that's just that because he wants to choose me. So that's one thing. It's so interesting because my Erev prayer, I titled it "Trusting." Well, it was a lot. It was so interesting because you were saying, like, write out how you feel and stuff like that. It was hard for me to pray the words I was feeling, so I just got a pen and paper and I just started writing, and I started writing, and I started writing, and I started writing the things I was struggling with, and I started writing the things that Yahuwah was showing me. But then at the end of writing everything that I was dealing with, the second part of what I wrote was trusting Yahusha. So, Yahuwah has brought me out of some crazy, crazy situations. But what I have to continue to tell myself is that he will not bring me out of something like that, stuff, the things that I've been through in my life, to bring me into something that's not through for me. He ain't gonna bring me out of something crazy to bring me into something that's not through. It may not look like what I thought it would be, but it's exactly what I was created for. And nothing is better than moving in the purpose that you were created for. So that's what Yahuwah is trying to do. He's trying to bring us back to our original intent, to what he originally created us for. If we kind of think of our lives prior to, I'm pretty sure we could all think of, like, man, we was in some crazy stuff, like stuff that could have caused us our lives, whatever it is that we were doing, or situations that we were in, that Yahuwah brought us out. And he's not going to bring us out of something crazy to bring us into something crazy. Like, no, he's not going to do that. Just like the children of Israel, he brought them out of a crazy situation, and because it didn't look like what they thought it was going to look like on the other side, they started to complain. They started to complain about the things that because it didn't look like what they thought it would look like. Even though it was a blessing, because they had a preconceived notion of what they felt like it should look like, they started to complain, and they didn't appreciate what Yahuwah was doing for them. So really having to, when I battling my soul, really just keeping that in the forefront of my mind. Like, yeah, no, Yahuwah brought me out of insert whatever is trying to attack me at this time. Yahuwah brought me out of this crazy thing. He's not gonna bring me overhead to bring me into something crazy. I trust in Yahusha, and different stuff like that. And then the last thing I wanted to say was about finding refuge in Yahuwah. Yahuwah really been dealing with me about what it looks like to be covered under the shadow of his wings. in Psalm 91, it talked about finding refuge in Yahuwah. When you look at our word refuge is hasa, is trust. It's not batak. It's hasa. It's a different trust, but it's still trust nevertheless. And it's he samic hit. And what it means is protection for those that are within the gates that are submitted. So Musha was talking about being submitted to Yahuwah's purpose, being submitted to Yahuwah and the plans that He have for our lives, being submitted to our heads. There is protection for those that are within the gates that are submitted. So when we're within the walls, so us being in the ark, us being, in the eternal excellency, there is protection for us, but if we are submitted. That is what that refuge in Psalm 91 is talking about when it said that Yahweh is our refuge. It is protection for those that are within the gates that are submitted. And so I just wanted to just kind of, bring that out, because what Yahweh was showing me, even in reference to that, I had a vision of Yahuwah's wing covering the Ohel Moed. When you think about a mother bird and she's sitting on her hatchlings, or the new birds that her egg, and then when they're born, she's sitting on them. There is a pressure that's being applied to the birds that are born, but it's not a pressure to hurt them. It's a pressure to protect them from harm. It's a pressure to keep them warm, from any type of weather that could, harm them or anything like that. It's to keep them safe from predators. There's a pressure that's applied from the mother bird sitting on her birds. If a mother bird is sitting on her birds, the predators can't see that there are hatchlings there, but there is pressure that's applied to the birds when the mom is sitting on them. So just like, Yahuwah's wing covering us, there is pressure that's applied, but it's for our protection. Is for protection for those that are within the gates or the walls that are submitted. So I just wanted to set up a praise Yahusha.
Man, all praise to you. Yeah, that's powerful. For real. That's powerful. Man, y'all bringing it out. That's a really big revelation. That's a really big to me. Um, I remember when you had first brought that out, I was just like, man, that's it. Because somebody else, Radar Yahoo, you actually had a vision about that. It meant the same thing. It was a vision you had, something surrounding, like you saw a bunch, like something in the wings or something. You know what I'm talking about? You still there, Radar Yahoo? Let's see.
So
You know what I'm talking about? You wasn't paying attention. You fell asleep. Let me see. But nevertheless, Radaya, who had something like that too a while ago. I can't find it right now, but wasn't that long ago, maybe a few months ago or so. Something about wings. And I remember getting an understanding for that. It meant a similar thing about being in the refuge of the Most High. Because the scriptures talk about in his wings we have refuge. Psalms 91. But what Bethsaida was saying was important, y'all. Like, there's another scripture where Yahusha says, "Oh, how I would have gathered Jerusalem like a hen gathers his chicks," or something like that. Something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but he says, "Jerusalem, Jerusalem, oh, how I would have gathered them like a hen gathers his chicks." That's surrounding around. Yahusha was talking like that was Psalm 91 language. How in his wings we have refuge. And when a bird gathers its chicks, it literally sits on the chicks to protect them, puts pressure on the babies to protect them. That is so interesting to me. That's the imagery. A bird puts pressure on their babies and that protects them. This goes into what we were talking about on Shabbat. How the way to be covered, the way to be atoned for, the way to have access to the house is basically it's through pressure, it's through receiving the hard words. When you're starting to get a bunch of pressure, in the form of hard words and things like that, it's probably a sign that there's some sort of access you're about to get. And if you can submit to it, if you can, move in it. Whenever somebody wants to do something major, they want to be a Navy SEAL, they want to in Babylon, whenever let's say somebody want to be, I don't know, in the NFL or the NBA, you're not gonna get there without receiving a whole bunch of strong, hard words, a whole lot of pressure. Nobody makes it to those levels, even in Babylon, without going through a whole lot of pressure. Michael Jackson would have never been Michael Jackson. I'm just using Babylonian examples right now, just for because y'all know those. Anybody familiar with Michael Jackson's daddy? Young people might not know, but Michael Jackson.
He abused him.
What you say, Kaya?
He abused him, right?
You can say that. Yeah. I guess you can say that. But Joe Jackson, yeah, because y'all go good old Joe Jackson. Man, he was whooping they behinds, y'all. That's why Michael Jackson is who he was, though. He had a dad that was tearing him up. I mean, all over him, making him sing all night, practice every day, he ain't want to do all that. If he didn't have good old Joe Jackson putting that pressure on him, he would have, I'm telling y'all, he would have never have been no Michael Jackson that we know of. He wouldn't have. He wouldn't have made it to that point. I remember when he was complaining about his dad, he was like, my dad, he never told me he loved me or anything like that, And I'm not discounting any abuse or anything like that, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of black dads from that generation didn't say that. They didn't talk like that. My dad never said nothing like that ever. He never said that. But I know that he did. You know what I'm saying? It's just different. Different generations. But the point is that pressure is what got him to where he was. That's the reality. And so that's a Babylonian wicked example. What more when it's righteous and from Yahuwah? You see what I'm saying? What more when it's righteous and from Yahuwah? So it's the pressure that makes you better. It is. Everybody who in Babylon who made it to a very high level NBA and they had that hard coach who was yelling at they behind, man. Who was hard on them. Y'all ever seen Mike Tyson? Mike Tyson's coach cuss D'Amato, the one who made Mike Tyson good. His first trainer. I'm talking about the one that made him good, that made him a champ. Cuss D'Amato, old white fat man. Don't look like he can bust a grape. But Mike Tyson was submitted to him. He was a great coach. And he would go hard on Mike Tyson. He would cuss him out all the time, go in on him, make him run, make him do. He submitted to him though. And that's in Babylon. But as soon as Malek say something you don't like, you want to go against it, you want to rebel, say it. As soon as your leader say something you don't like, you want to go in on them. You want to talk back to him. You want to say you offended. It's okay to be offended. That's just your soul fighting. It's just your soul fighting your ruach. But it's not okay not to not to fight in the flesh when it gets offended and subdue it so that you can die in that area. All right. Anyone else?
Oh, yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Jumping out right quick. My little 2 shekels.
Jump on in there. Yes, sir.
Get my feet wet, huh?
Yeah.
Talk about these various trials and stuff we be going through. We're supposed to count it all as joy, according to James 1, We count these various trials that we go through, we count them as joy because we know we're being tested by Yahuwah. And knowing that, the testing of your faith is going to produce patience. Patience is one of those fruits of the Ruach, patience, long suffering and all that, So this patience, it's going to it's going to be a perfect work. Let it be a perfect work in you, Let it do its job, that you may be perfected and complete, lacking nothing. You're not going to lack nothing if you're going to continue past these tests that's going to come at you, just like was already said, You might be tested in one area, and then another test might come in a different area, So those tests are, we count them as joy because we know we got to go through that fire, Yahuwah's got to know, who he's dealing with. If you can take the pressure. If you can take that pressure, he's going to take you to the next level. And then on down, it talks about I'm in James 1. It says, let no one say when he is tempted, I am tempted by a lure. It says, for a lure cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he himself tempt anyone. So he's not tempting you like some people used to say back in the old days, the devil made me do it, and this and that, But each one is tempted when he is drawn by his own desires and enticed. That's that flesh, that's that Babylonian mindset that's going to entice you, to do your own thing, And then when that desire is conceived, and it gives birth and sin, and when it's full grown, it's going to bring forth death, If you let it control you like that, it's going to bring forth death. So, let us not be deceived, these tests are. This is for a good reason. He's going to test us. The test is going to be coming. When I'm washing hands, I always pray for. I pray sometimes about passing the test that's coming at you because the test is going to keep coming. We got to go through that fire. You got to know if we're going to be right under pressure. So it's like anything else. When I was running track, sports analogy. Our coaches push us pretty hard. We have to run them wind sprints, man. We might run 700 or 800 yard dashes, and then we might run five or six 220s, then turn around and run a mile. It was hard, man, but we had to be tested, man, to make us competitive. When we get on the track field against your competitors, then you can compete. Because you sacrifice. You pass some of them tests, man, that was coming at you. As far as getting your body in shape. So, like I was saying, just like the scripture say, let it count it all as joy. These various trials and tests is coming our way. They're going to be coming because none of us are perfect, and he's going to test us, where he wants to test us at, where we're weak at. He's trying to show us something. He's trying to take us to that next level. But anyway, I just want to throw that in there, and I yield.
Man, no, that's real, Bakir Lou. That's real. That's real, Bakir Lou bringing it out. All right. Anyone else?
Mushal, can you do me a favor?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna ask you a question. Like, so this is just it's just so that way, I guess. I don't know. I'm gonna ask you anyway. What is for? So what is entitlement? What does entitlement mean?
So
Or is that
entitlement.
a Amar Mushala question? Is that you got that one?
You know,
Man, listen, Mushala probably get it. She'll capture that probably better than me. But I can tell you my angle of it is basically just when somebody
feel like they deserve.
yeah, it's like you think it's supposed to be how it's supposed to be for you. Like it's like this mindset to where you think like you're supposed to have or like deserve, like because it was saying, something that you don't really deserve, or you think you're supposed to have something that you're really not supposed to have. It's really, a blessing that you have it, but you think it's supposed to be like that.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, it's like a level of very like ungratefulness is usually associated with entitlement, super ungratefulness,
Mhm. Okay.
things like that. But yeah.
That's dude. That's dude. Okay. Can I get one more person? I know what I mean, man. I'm doing something. Can I get one more person to expound on what entitlement means? It could be anybody. So what y'all saying? Y'all want
Can
me
you
to
hear me?
use the? Oh, okay. Okay. Who's that? Who's that?
Hold.
Okay. Go ahead, sis.
Can you hear
Shalom
me
to you.
too?
Yes, ma'am.
So when I think of entitlement, because I tell my children sometimes, you acting real entitled. So can you mute your 1 second? All right, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Like when I think of it, I think of somebody that like feel like they deserve something. Like you just supposed to have this. That's what I think of when I'm entitled.
Okay, kind. So what I'm getting at is that a lot of us, at times, we feel entitled to certain things. We feel that it's supposed to happen, and it's supposed to happen our way, right? And if it doesn't happen our way, then we feel some type of way about it, whatever that way is. And it blocks us from blessings, right? It puts you in a place to where now Yahuwah has to deal with you however he wants to deal with you, right? And I can honestly say that all of us, everybody on this call, has been in that fire to where Yahuwah is judging them, and he's doing something in them or to them that they're not comfortable with. So that entitlement, that self-entitlement will put you in a place, it'll put you in a bad place, right? Um, to where you may feel that, hey, you know what? Why is this happening? Why me? Right? But that's the thing, you know what I'm saying? It's not your will, it's Yahuwah's will, right? It's not your will, it's Yahuwah's will, right? The things that are happening are because of maybe you still don't have the Emunah that Yahuwah is requiring of you, right? You don't believe in him or an individual, right? You are a lack of submission to him or to an individual, right? And it's a self-inflicting wound. You're doing it to yourself. Um, so with that, the question is, where in life, right? Where are you lacking submission? Where are you lacking the Emunah? Because Yahuwah he's gonna put you through things. And I ain't gonna say that everything is gonna be all through. And if you receive things in a Babylonian way, I'm gonna say that it's not gonna always be all good. There's gonna be some things that's gonna happen, right? It's gonna be some tests that we're gonna have to go through, right? And Yahuwah always gives you the things you need. He gives you the answers to the test before you have to take it. You know what I'm saying? He's going to equip you with the things that you need. He's going to make sure that you are through, right? But what's going to happen when you fail that test? Those things that came before, those times when you were in class and he was teaching you and he was gaming you up, those things right there, and you blocked them. So when it was time for the test, hey, you just made it that much more harder. Now you stuck on question number 2 and you don't know the answer to it, but you were in the presence of the answer and you just didn't receive it. You didn't receive it, man. I'm hoping this makes sense. I'm trying to say it in an easy way. But the thing is, ask yourself, you know what I'm saying, where in life are you not submitting? Where in life are you lacking the Emunah? Where in life do you feel entitled? Tell her about it. Where do you feel entitled, right? Because I see it, you know what I'm saying? And I know for sure who will see it because he knows our intentions, right? Um, just do a self-introspection, man. I think this is a through um, conversation that we're having, and it's for a reason, and it's going to help somebody. And I pray Yahuwah that uh, he sees you through it, you know what I'm saying, whoever the person may be. Now, it could even be me. He may deal with me tomorrow or the next week or something to show me, right? But you know what I'm saying, just don't miss that window. Don't miss this opportunity to ascend. You see what I'm saying? Um, we go through these things that Yahuwah has us going through because he's perfecting us. He wants that black diamond. He wants that gold to come out and shine. You know what I'm saying, Miss Parker? So you know, let's do that. Let's press against that pressure. It's not physical. It's not physical. It's ruach. You know what I'm saying? But some of it is physical. I say probably about maybe 10% out of 100. It might be physical a little bit, but 90% of it is ruach. And we gotta, you know, continue to press against that pressure to be refined into that gold, that pure diamond, that thing that is acceptable to you. So that's all I got. Come on, let's start. Come on. I'm talking too much. So
Come. All right, y'all. Man. Yeah, no, that was through. That was through in the way you had broke that down too. I hope y'all was, you know, just listening and getting some of that wisdom. Well, you know, yep. So, Obed, it's time to go to bed. So, if y'all don't have anything else, we're gonna go ahead and close. Um, all right. Let's see who's gonna close. Bakir Yakumi, I mean, actually, you can go ahead and close off with prayer. That'll be through.
Rebirth of a nation. Hebrew kingdom building.